I'll call the Board of Commissioners April 19th meeting to order. First item on the agenda is invocation by County Manager Ms. Sharon Russell.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman and Commissioners. Good evening. Let us pray. Dear Heavenly Father, we thank you for this opportunity to come before you and conduct the business of Onslow County. Tonight, as we declare April as Child Abuse Prevention Month, we pray that children in danger or in dire need find the protection and comfort they need. We also pray that our community will play an active role in preventing child abuse and take positive steps to promote and encourage child and family well-being. Lord, please be with all of those who serve and defend our nation and bless our veterans. May all we do this day bring you honor and glory. Now, with deep respect and reverence for the faiths, beliefs, and traditions of those gathered here tonight, join me in a moment of silence. Amen.
Our pledge of allegiance by Assistant County Manager Ms. Sherry Slater. All stand. To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic
for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you all for being here tonight. I'd like to acknowledge the elected officials, Sheriff Miller, as always here, sir, and Colonel Chris Thomas, our Chief Deputy, is here also to help us maintain security. Also like to recognize North Topsail Beach Alderman, Miss Susan Myers. Thank you for being here tonight. We ask all that in attendance to please set your cell phone to silent or vibrate mode. The board offers the public one opportunity to speak during the meeting. Comments should be limited to no more than 5 minutes and may be on any issue upon which the Board of Commissioners has control. In accordance with the board's adopted rules of procedure, commissioners shall reserve responses, if any, for the commissioner comment period on the agenda, which is at the end of the meeting. With no other items to be considered, I would entertain a motion to adopt the meeting agenda.
So moved. Second.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Is there any item on the consent agenda that any of the commissioners would like to have removed and discussed later at the end of the meeting?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Have a motion to approve the items on the consent agenda and a second. All in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Thank you. We're at item 3. Ms. Russell, do we have anyone signed up for public comment?
Yes, Chairman Bright, we have one person signed up for public comment this evening. Our public comment period is for citizens to speak for 5 minutes and no more than 5 minutes. We do ask that you sit down at the close of your 5-minute period. Citizen speakers are acknowledged in the order in which they sign up. We ask that you introduce yourself and give us your address as you come forward. We also ask that speakers address the board as a whole from the podium and not address their comments to any individual commissioner. Discussions between speakers and members of the audience are not permitted, as well as profanity is not permitted in any way. Any comments where the primary purpose is to promote a business or candidacy shall not be allowed. Our one person who has signed up this evening is Ms. Carol McIntyre of 114 Shell Island Road. I welcome you to the podium.
Good evening. I'm Carol McIntyre, 114 Shell Island Road, Sneads Ferry. As a lifelong resident of Sneads Ferry and a member of the Onslow County Parks and Recreation Advisory Board, I would like to thank you and commend you on your decision to purchase equine country property. I've spoken to many people around the county who share the opinion that this was an excellent use of tourism funds. This addition to our park system will not only promote tourism, but will enhance greatly the opportunities for our citizens to enjoy another aspect of our county. It's not just for those who like horses. The recreational environment potential is immense. and the quality of life of our citizens will be greatly enhanced. I hope that our citizens will take the opportunity to visit this new park, see what it has to offer, and enjoy the fact that our county leaders decided to save a large parcel of land and gift it to its citizens, while a great number of our communities are consumed with development. Once again, thank you, and I look forward to visiting this new addition to our park system.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. McIntyre. That's all. Chairman Bright?
Okay, we'll move on to item 4, our presentations, and I will refer that to Ms. Russell for reading of the proclamation.
Thank you so much. Chairman Bright and Commissioners, this evening we have one proclamation recognizing Child Abuse Prevention Month, and I will read it into the record. State of North Carolina, County of Onslow, Proclamation, Child Abuse Prevention Month 2021. Whereas all children deserve to grow up in a caring and loving environment, yet across America, hundreds of thousands of children are neglected or abused each year, often causing lasting consequences. And whereas children who are being abused or neglected may display constant alertness, sudden changes in behavior and school performance, or untreated physical or medical issues, and whereas all families can benefit from strong support systems and resources in the face of these challenges, and as parents, friends, neighbors, and fellow human beings, keeping our kids safe is among our highest priorities. And whereas we need to support efforts that lift up vulnerable families, improve the coordination of programs and services within our community, and promote meaningful and measurable changes in the lives of children across Onslow County to improve their social and emotional well-being. And whereas this month, let us aim to eradicate child abuse from our community, and let us secure a future for our children that is bright and full of hope, opportunity, and security. Now, therefore, be it proclaimed that the Onslow County Board of Commissioners declares April 2021 as Child Abuse Prevention Month, and calls upon all citizens to recognize the courage it takes to raise a child and reaffirm the fundamental human rights of all children to live free from violence and abuse. Presented this the 19th day of April 2021 by the Onslow County Board of Commissioners. And I believe Chairman Bright has requested that Commissioner Robin Knapp present this proclamation. Representatives, actually the director and deputy director from Onslow County Social Services will be accepting this proclamation.
You guys got that planned out well. The microphone's perfect. So I just want you to know. Hey, I just wanted to say congratulations to both of you. I spent 27 years in law enforcement and bouncing around from special ops to violent crimes. And my last 2 years working for NCIS, I was involved with family sexual violence and child abuse cases. And I know the sheriff has been part of that too, as far as the pornography side of the house is concerned. Child abuse is something that we need to take seriously within our country, and we need to focus all our attention on, because we have little kids, people, these children are being abused by adults that can't control their anger or whatever mental reason that they may have, and there's no one there to protect them. And I know the DSS have their hands full investigating these cases, and it's not always easy, and it's not always, black and white. There are a lot of things that go involved in a child abuse case, and when you have to sit there and investigate these investigations and look at the injuries and look at the abuse on infants, on toddlers, on children, period, it makes you sick. And they wonder why cops like to be alone a lot of the times, because those are the images that we live with and we still carry with us even after retirement. So it's very important that we focus in on this. And I can't thank you guys enough for the outstanding job that you do, the brutal job that you do. And it's important for all of us, the citizens. It's important for all the people here in the United States to remember our children during Child Abuse Month and to take that extra time and to love these kids, because they deserve it. These kids are innocent victims, okay? They're innocent victims. They came into this world. They didn't ask to be brought into this world, and yet we treat them like garbage, and that shouldn't be. As far as I'm concerned, if you're a child abuser, you're probably one of the lowest forms of human life that's possible. So congratulations on a job well done. I applaud your efforts, and I applaud everything that you guys do. Oops.
I want to thank the commissioners for recognizing April as Child Abuse Prevention Month. This is a month for us to honor those that support children and work to strengthen families, from our child welfare social workers at the Department of Social Services to our many community partners that work with us day in and day out. Our faith-based organizations, our law enforcement, our military partners, our medical providers, our businesses, all work to support the well-being of children. So it's also a time to recognize that we all play a part in the prevention of child abuse and neglect, and it's really our work and our collaboration together and prevention services that will decrease child abuse and neglect in our community. I have with me tonight Campbell Fletcher, our Deputy Director, who oversees PEERS, our nonprofit prevention organization. Would you like to say a few words?
PEERS is an organization that provides education and resources to families in our community, including parenting education, drop-in childcare, as well as adolescent parenting program, all free to the community. We're also the backbone of TASCO, and as always, we appreciate your support, commissioners, and the community.
Item 5 is a Southeastern Hazard Mitigation Plan. I'll start off with Ms. Russell, and then I think Norm Bryson will do the presentation.
That is correct. Mr. Chairman and Commissioners, we have one public hearing this evening, and it is for consideration of the Southeastern Hazard Mitigation Plan. And I will call on Emergency Services Director Norman Bryson to provide our staff introduction.
Good evening, Chairman, Vice Chairman, Commissioners. A hazard mitigation plan is a document that defines the hazards that may affect a community. It categorizes the risks to those hazards and develops strategies to mitigate those risks. The Robert T. Stafford Act requires that communities must review, update, and receive FEMA approval to their hazard mitigation plan every 5 years. If a community does not have a FEMA-approved hazard mitigation plan, then the community would be ineligible to receive federal disaster relief funds during a federally declared disaster. As an example, Onslow County would have been ineligible for its over $9 million it received from FEMA from Hurricane Florence. Onslow County has merged its hazard mitigation plan with Pender, New Hanover, and Brunswick counties. The plan is called the Southeastern North Carolina Hazard Mitigation Plan. The mitigation plan has been reviewed and updated locally and has passed reviews by both state emergency management and FEMA. If it passes through y'all's adoption tonight, then it would go on to FEMA for its final approval. A couple of things that have changed with the plan since we have merged it is, one, it's a regional plan combined with 3 other counties. It updated county information for any changes that has occurred in the previous 5 years. As examples of those are disasters that have occurred and affected our community, such as Hurricane Florence, and changes to county regarding population and development. It has also added new hazards such as technological and pandemics, which before it was only focused on natural hazards, and it updated the county's mitigation strategies. Our staff is respectfully requesting the Board of Commissioners consider adoption of the Southeastern North Carolina Hazard Mitigation Plan by resolution, and if approved, authorize the chairman to sign all necessary documents on behalf of the county.
Thank you, Mr. Bryson. At this time, I will open the public hearing for consideration of the Southeastern Hazard Mitigation Plan. And no one signed up to speak at this public hearing, but I'll do one call to the audience. If anyone would like to speak regarding the Southeastern Mitigation Plan, as explained by Mr. Bryson, please step to the podium. Seeing no one approach, I will now close the public hearing. And at this point, Chairman Bright, Commissioners, this item is available for Commissioner discussion, questions, and consideration.
Any commissioners have any questions for Mr. Bryson or staff concerning hazard mitigation plan?
Yeah, Mr. Bryson, I was just wondering why we joined in with those other counties, because they were coastal communities that are and we could share best practices? Is that the rationale behind the joint?
The
agreement?
rationale behind it is the state of North Carolina has taken federal dollars and is paying contractors to actually develop the plans if the plans would become regionalized. Originally, we were actually the last holdout in the state of North Carolina for doing our plans independently on our own. And the state of North Carolina offered these grants, and because those other counties are geographically coastal counties in our region, that would be the best fit for us to actually merge together with.
Thanks, sir.
Any further questions?
So would you say we're able to save taxpayer money by joining with the region?
Yes, sir. It actually allowed us to focus on other things by joining with the region and using the grants as well as the contractors to write it. And, you know, as I was sitting back there thinking about that, with a year like what we've had with COVID, we would have needed this. I don't know how far behind we would have been if we did not have this opportunity to use the other counties, the contractors, and the grant.
Any further?
I'm making a motion to adopt the
Second.
plan.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Hearing none, the item carries unanimously.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Mr. Bryson. Item 6, general items, fiber optic service to county assets around Georgetown Road, and I think Mr. Hargett will present that to us.
Indeed. Good evening, Chairman Bright and Commissioners. Glad to speak in front of you on this. Since about 2015, the city and the county have shared in some fiber assets, and at that time, it even provided some connectivity to this building. After some discussions about need for resiliency and some backup, a discussion occurred about the use of some fibers that the city was not using. They're called dark fibers because they're not lit up as it was. And so an agreement was reached to share in some of these assets. Jones Onslow was among one of the first users of that as it was. So what you have before you this evening is an agreement that basically memorializes an operation that actually will lower how much you're paying the city for the fiber that you're using. And it also makes formal an agreement with other partners so they can also share in that benefit as dark fibers are used as they are. So document 1 that you have before you is the formal agreement for the parties to share any dark fibers. There is a fee for that as established, and there's an attachment that shows the county's most recent lease of the fiber from the city. Document 2 is the interlocal agreement that is saying basically the city has a contract to construct some fiber assets, and they're going to let the county, by paying a fee, and the other parties will basically piggyback on this contract the city already has, and share in that benefit of providing services to the Georgetown area, which will benefit Coastal Carolina Community College that has the fire training grounds, Onwassa that obviously has their offices there, and the Onslow County, which has several buildings on the Georgetown Road. So that's why it's a 4-party agreement for that end. And what we're asking for this evening is to approve the dark fiber agreement and the interlocal agreement and authorize the chairman to sign both agreements on behalf of the county.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Any further discussion or questions? Hearing none, all in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Hearing none, the motion carries unanimously. We'll move on now to item B, Juvenile Crime Prevention Council. Ms. Carrie Sanders.
Good evening, Chairman, Vice Chair, and Commissioners. The item you have before you this evening is the Juvenile Crime Prevention, better known as JCPC, Annual County Plan. A subcommittee of JCPC members completed the risks, needs, and resource assessments needed, and JCPC as a whole approved the top 7 priority services that are needed to prevent and reduce youth delinquency in our county. And based on those priority services, JCPC recommends the allocation of the North Carolina Department of Public Safety, Division of Adult Correction and Juvenile Justice, JCPC funds, to the following programs: juvenile restitution, the school treatment program, Onslow County Teen Court, the SHARP psychological assessments, and temporary shelter services. And although a majority of the funding for these programs come from the North Carolina Department of Public Safety, there is a county match rate for JCPC funds of 30%. So this plan is contingent upon the final budget adoption of the county commissioners. However, our plan must be submitted to the state by May 15th. So it is respectfully requested approval of the JCPC annual county plan and authorize the chairman to sign any necessary documents on behalf of the county. And I'll answer any questions you may have.
Is there funding match coming up for this coming budget year or not this year?
I believe it's each year that we do that, and it is included in the proposed budget that would be presented to the board.
How much is our share?
It's a 30% county rate match overall.
Do you know what the dollar amount is, or?
I don't off the top of my head. Anybody want to jump in? No, I'm just kidding. I don't remember exactly what it was. It was in that nonprofit list that we looked at during the workshop.
But it's all, whatever it is, it's in this coming budget.
Yes.
Yes.
Motion?
So moved.
Second.
I got a motion and a second. Any further discussion or questions? All in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, Ms. Sanders.
Thank you.
Item C is National Association of County and City Health Officials supporting local health departments in increasing vaccine uptake project. That would be Ms. Hoover.
Good evening, Chairman, Vice Chairman, and Commissioners. The National Association of County and City Health Officials put out a request for applications to help counties and cities deal with vaccine rates that faltered a little bit whenever we were dealing with the COVID pandemic in 2020. Looking at our data for routine and childhood vaccinations, we had about a 20% decrease in the number of individuals that came in for vaccinations in calendar year 20 compared to 19, and about a 29% decrease in the number of vaccines that were administered when comparing those 2 years. Therefore, we submitted an application whenever this opportunity became available, and we were awarded a $25,000 grant from NACCHO that requires no county match to facilitate improvement in routine and seasonal vaccine uptake. Therefore, it's respectfully requested that the Onslow County Board of Commissioners accept this grant in the amount of $25,000 to enhance vaccination uptake in Onslow County and allow staff to complete necessary documentation and allocate these funds for those purposes. If you have any questions, I'll be happy to answer those.
Motion?
Motion
For the
to
grant?
approve. Second.
A motion and a second. I've got a question not really related to that, but our vaccines, are we having reduced number of people setting appointments now, and we scrambling to get people to come in to take the vaccine?
For COVID vaccination specifically, we have been able to decrease the number of vaccine appointment slots that we are offering because other providers in the county have been able to expand their availability of vaccination appointments. In Onslow County, we know that we have ample vaccine supply of both Pfizer and Moderna. We also have Johnson & Johnson that's being held kind of in reserve right now, pending updates that may become available later this week for whether or not we can begin using Johnson & Johnson again. We know that we have seen vaccination demand decrease as more people have had the opportunity to become vaccinated, and we still encourage the public to get vaccinated. We've seen recent case increases, and we know that vaccination is the best way to prevent the transmission of disease in our population. And so we really want to get to a herd immunity level of vaccination, and encouraging the public to get out and take a vaccine, knowing that there is ample supply in the community, is the message that we really want to push for COVID vaccination.
Now, absent of the military numbers, how many people do we have actually that we know that's in this county that's been, I think maybe Sharon was going to do that, but how many do we have that's actually vaccinated?
Absolutely. So here at the Health Department, we have vaccinated, or we have administered 42,357 vaccinations. Onslow County resident data shows us that there have been a total of 50,651 vaccinations administered to Onslow County residents. These might have been by other providers or by providers outside of the county to individuals who reside in Onslow County.
But that's not base numbers. We don't have the military numbers.
That's correct. This
So
is absent. This is absent of DoD data. Yes, sir.
So basically, doing the quick math, a fourth of our population that was eligible has been back.
And we feel very confident that it is much higher than that based on the fact that we know that the base is offering vaccination. We're just not certain of what those specifics are. But we certainly have better coverage than what the state data represents.
Okay, any
This,
further?
this particular grant, though, doesn't have anything to do with COVID. It's pneumonia and flu and measles and whatever.
It's routine childhood vaccinations, seasonal vaccinations like flu, and then also like pneumonia for our older adults. It has a little bit to do with COVID because we know that vaccination rates for these routine and seasonal vaccinations have been impacted due to the increased focus on COVID during 2020. It's not something that was seen just in health departments, but also in private practice as well. And so recognizing that vaccination was one of the top 10 achievements of public health in the 20th century, we really can't stand to lose any of the ground that we made during that time. So this is to really promote what we know is really good for our communities and trying to ensure that all of our children and all those that need these annual vaccinations are able to get them.
Okay, thank you. Any further questions for Ms. Hoover? We have a motion and a second. All in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Thank you, Ms. Hoover. Thank you for the information. I didn't mean to put you on the spot, but I knew you had all the answers we were looking for, or a lot of the public might be asking.
Yep, no worries.
Thank you. Next item is D, enhanced lab capacity. Ms. Hoover again.
I think I've got this one and the next one. You're in for the Chrissy show.
We may have some more questions for you.
This enhanced lab capacity is an agreement addenda or a direct allocation from the state to the county health department. This funding opportunity or this funding requires no county match. This is just allocated to the health department with strings attached for what we should do with the funding. In this case, the enhanced lab capacity is for testing capacity, surveillance activities, IT infrastructure, really the ongoing case investigation and contact tracing that we've been doing for a little over the past year. It's in support of the community response and infection control, and it is in the amount of $1,585,303. And it is respectfully requested that the Board of Commissioners accept this additional funding allocation from the state in that amount and allow us to budget it and expend it in the enhanced detection activities for pandemic response.
Hear a motion?
So moved.
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Any questions?
This is COVID related, so, yeah.
All in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, motion carries. Ms. Hoover, I think you're up next again for a vaccination program.
Yes, sir. Similarly, this is another state allocation, an agreement addenda that was sent to the Onslow County Health Department with specific activities attached to it. This funding allocation is in support of our vaccination program specific to COVID-19. It covers expenses associated with appropriate storage, handling of the vaccine, and staffing of clinics to be able to make that vaccine available to our public and promote uptake. This funding allocation is in the amount of $499,545, and it is respectfully requested that the Board of Commissioners approve this additional funding and allow us to budget and expend it in support of the CDC's COVID vaccination program.
Your motion?
Motion to approve.
And a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Thank you, Ms. Hoover. We move on now to audit contract engagement letter. That's Ms. Reese, our Finance Director. Good evening.
Good evening, Chairman, Vice Chair, Commissioners. Before you tonight, you have the audit contract from Elliott Davis to conduct the annual audit for fiscal year ending June 30th, 2021. We're required by the Local Government Commission to have our financial statements audited annually. Elliott Davis has audited our financial statements for the past 3 years, and they were formed in 1920 and have been actively engaged in governmental accounting since its inception. They provide and supervise over 30,000 hours of service to governmental entities on an annual basis. Their governmental practice constitutes a significant part of the firm in terms of size and resources. The audit fee for fiscal year 2020-2021 is $62,500. The fee is still less than other counties with the same population. Orange County, their fee is $77,500. Johnston County is at $82,000, and Pitt County is $95,000. I respectfully request that the board considers the approval of the audit contract and engagement letter with Elliott Davis P. LLC for the fiscal year 2021 audit and authorize the chairman to sign the contract and the engagement letter on behalf of the county.
I hear a
to
motion.
approve.
Second.
A motion and a second. Any discussion?
So why do other counties pay more? Are we just smarter than they are?
They put out a bid, and then there's some firms are more than ours are, and it depends. Some, like the Cadillac or the Ford,
Went
you
out
can.
for proposals? for RFP?
Actually, the proposals went out 3 years ago. So this is going to be a new engagement letter for the next 3 years.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion, questions? All in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Didn't hear none. It approved unanimously. Thank you, Ms. Reese.
Thank you.
Airport pavement rehabilitation improvements, I think that's Mr. White, our airport director.
Good evening, Chairman, Vice Chairman, and Commissioners. This project before you this evening is an airport rehabilitation or pavement rehabilitation and improvement project. This will be a multi-phase project that will design and construct the rehabilitation of runway 523, taxiway Alpha, the associated airfield pavements, as well as the construction of an aircraft holding pad. The airport currently has approximately 3.6 million square feet of pavement, roughly the equivalent of 58 lane miles of roadway. The vast majority of this pavement is asphalt, which requires periodic maintenance and rehabilitation. The cycle depends on factors from traffic and weather to the original design and subsurface conditions. The airfield pavement the airport has a pavement management system which tracks the condition and includes detailed engineering surveys as well as destructive and non-destructive testing. In 2019, a survey was conducted that identified portions of taxiway Alpha, which are now classified as poor due to weathering, cracking, oxidation, and most of the remaining taxiway and runways pavements were rated as fair. It's pretty common. Studies have shown that the pavement begins to deteriorate at an accelerated pace based on its age. Thus, planning was accelerated to begin rehabilitation of the pavement. The first phase will include milling and overlaying the taxiway and its pavement, which is currently in excess of 20 years of age. The runway, which was last overlaid in 2008, will follow a year later. The north holding pad will be constructed off the taxiway to allow aircraft to pass when air traffic holds occur. This project will be funded by multiple FAA Airport Improvement Program grants, airport revenues, user fees, such as passenger facility charges, and state grants. The estimated total cost of all rehabilitation is about $13 million, with the first phase estimated to cost approximately $5.5 million. The attached design work authorization in the amount of $540,823 will design both phases of this project. It is respectfully requested that the Board of Commissioners approve the associated project ordinances. design work authorization and authorize the chairman to sign the documents on behalf of the county.
Do I hear a motion?
So moved.
I think I have a motion and a second. Any discussion or questions for Mr. White? Hearing none, all in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, motion carries. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
We're at item 7, the consent agenda. We didn't have anything that was moved from the consent agenda to item 7. So we're now at manager's comments. Ms. Russell, floor is yours.
Thank you so much, Mr. Chairman and Commissioners. First thing I will say is I'd like to answer the question that was asked earlier. Our county match that is budgeted for the upcoming year for JCPC is $197,336. It's on page 60 of the packet. And that goes in with the $531,980 that we receive from the state to fund JCPC. And keep in mind, the goal of JCPC is to prevent crime in our young folks and our teenagers and children so that we don't end up paying more to rehabilitate and jail them at a later date. So hopefully, sorry for the delay in answering that. In other items tonight, I was asked to share on behalf of North Topsail Beach an update. There will be a North Topsail Beach Fun Try Challenge on May 21st, and this is going to benefit both the North Topsail Beach Volunteer Rescue and EMS and also Onslow County Parks and Rec Youth Scholarship Fund. And North Topsail Beach invites our community to enjoy this community day, and they will have registration on their Facebook page. And I'm sure many folks will look forward to that. Also on our own Onslow County Parks and Rec website, families can now register for summer camp. That has opened up. And we have volunteer opportunities for high school students who might need SAT hours and for college students who might need volunteer time for credits. Another announcement to share, Senior Services will open their doors back up on May 3rd, and we're very excited about that. We will have more information to come for our seniors. Also, last week we had a modified county government week. As Chrissy detailed earlier, we still have some concerns with COVID, so we kind of did a condensed, a smaller county government week with respect for any risks with COVID. And as part of that, we had a community give back that we sponsored with our employees. And our employees ended up donating hundreds of pounds of food for children who need to take home food as part of the CHEW program. And we were able to pass that along to benefit CHEW. So we enjoyed that, and we all certainly very much appreciate working for the county. So that's all I have this evening. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Russell. Next item is commissioner comments. I think we have rotated down to Commissioner Scott, I think, is up next.
Okay.
First one.
I wish all the good evening, and thank you, and we'll see you the next time. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Commissioner Bennett.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I wanted to thank Lisa Carpenter, the president of the Women's Club, Republican Women's Club, for being here, and she's encouraging people to come, her members to come to our meetings and participate. It's always better for us when the public is informed about what's going on in our meetings. I wanted to thank Carol. Also, I was able to attend the Parks and Rec meeting a couple of weeks ago. They're working hard to make plans for our new Hines Farm Park. And I would encourage people to attend their meetings and make a positive contribution to what we're doing for recreation in Onslow County. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Y'all have a good night.
Thank you. Commissioner Buchanan.
Hey, Carol, I want to thank you for speaking up for us tonight. It means a lot to me. It means a lot to this board, reference to the equine country. That's all I have this evening. Thank everybody. Have a safe trip home.
Thank you, sir. Commissioner Knapp.
I really don't have much to say, just continued thanks to Sharon and her staff and the health department for what they're doing with COVID and the vaccinations, and hopefully there's light at the end of the tunnel and we can get past this. But I want to thank you all for coming and for sharing our experiences, and I hope you have a good night.
Commissioner Price?
Last week was our Onslow County Government Employees Week, and so I just wanted to express my thanks for all our county employees do. Thank Ms. McIntyre for coming out and speaking this evening, and have a good evening. Thank you for coming tonight.
Thank you, sir. Vice Chairman Foster?
Just a lot of ditto on that. Thank you. I know Ms. McIntyre, I think she said Sneed's Ferry. So that was a good little ride to come in. As always, anyone who wants to come out and share, we appreciate people coming out and speaking on issues facing the county. At the same time, to acknowledge the Child Abuse Prevention Month, which is a lot more work probably than it's ever been with the kids not being in school, and that takes away one of your largest reporting places where child abuse is missed because they haven't been in school. So it's a blessing that our kids are back in school, that we can address needs that we have often missed because of the lack of being in school. I'm excited that we're going to be working with North Topsail Beach in the coming weeks to sit down and discuss and communicate with each other. That's something that needs to take place. And at the same time, I think it's good for us that the boards and committees that we sit on, is that this is a great time in the agenda for us to share what we've been doing and where we've been, and the boards that we've worked with. ONWASA is currently finishing up or working on their budget. We'll get that coming up. Then the public hearing's coming up in later in May. So that's the big topic coming out of them. The Airport Authority, I've been to the last 2 meetings with Director Chris White, learned a whole lot about Albert J. Ellis and the work that's going on there. I always know it has a huge impact on Onslow County, and when you sit through those meetings, you see that it has maybe a larger impact than what we really realize, and hopefully we can get some more jets coming in and out of there with the work of Director White. JCPC, on 2 of their meetings in the last couple of months, and a lot of work going in and getting that budget ready to go to take care of our students, or our kids in general, and limit and slow that juvenile crime. And that's the purpose, is to take care of them before they get to a point that there's no turning back. So it's great working with the community boards and letting you know what's going on. And I appreciate you coming out tonight and all the work that you do. And last week was a great week for the Onslow County employees and the efforts they put in. Thank you.
Thank you, Vice Chair. Did I see Bishop Zinnerman here?
You did.
Thank you for being here tonight, sir.
Thank you very much. Good to be here.
I got a couple of things I want to bring to the board's attention. I had a call from Base Naval, and they're supposedly have worked out the Medicare and Medicaid filing the paperwork for the individuals going out there, according to Marty Somerville. That supposedly has been worked out. He promised me that they are actually getting reimbursements now from Medicare and Medicaid when our patients are taken out there. That was some good news from the Base Naval. Miss Ford, that lived in Charlotte, just passed away. I'd like to recognize her and her family. She was 116 years old. She just passed away this past weekend. Born in 1905, and still was active and basically staying by herself, and then her family moved in with her. But people are just living longer now and enjoying life more, and as long as the quality of life is there, I think they more power to them.
I'm all for it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Miss Pat Walker passed away a couple months ago. Time escapes me, it was some time back. She was a credit to the community and a credit to the military and the veterans. Paul and myself and some of the other board members that have worked closely with that group. I nominated her when she passed. I nominated her for the Duke Energy Citizenship Service Award. And the board of directors for the Jacksonville Chamber of Commerce approved that, and they voted on it, and she did receive, or will be receiving, or her family will be receiving the Duke Energy Award, and it'll be at a banquet. I don't know exact date now, but they'll be sending out invitations. It's a limited capacity because of the COVID-19, but her family and her endeavors will be honored and recognized at that event. So that just shows you how we got really positive people in this community that work really hard for the veterans and work really hard and never expect anything back from it. She did it because she loved the work. So we'll be hearing more about that within the next few weeks about the time and everything for that. Other than that, we covered a lot of ground tonight, and we voted on a lot of issues concerning COVID-19 and broadband. I think broadband is really something that we really need to get out to our citizens. Kids, they having trouble getting their homework up, especially the ones that have not been able to go back to school yet. Of course, school is open, but there's some that's still out, and they're doing their homework virtually with computers, and if they don't have internet service, it's hard for them to keep up without that. So I applaud any effort to get broadband in the areas that we need broadband to enhance our connectivity to our citizenry. Other than that, I will entertain a motion to adjourn. All in favor? Aye. We are adjourned. Thank you. Thank you.